that the drivers feel the same way about it though, because this is a street circuit, which means it's very tight. That means a couple of things. Firstly, it's difficult to overtake. But secondly, if you make a mistake, if you lose concentration, if you're late on the brakes, there's no runoff area here, so you're straight in the barrier. And we saw that in practice. One car emerged the entire front half of the chassis into the barrier. Now, thankfully, seemingly, he walked away uninjured, but there's a lot of risk to be taken around this circuit. Should be very exciting both today and tomorrow. Really looking forward to this.
Yes, I know we've said this 5 years ago when we were here. It's twisty, bumpy, torturous for the drivers, but a real test for all of them today. Thank you, Steve, and let's pass it back to our commentators. The highlights. That was some fantastic highlights. Now we are back here on this track. Joining me today will be the Senior Manager of One Mix Series of Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific. We have Ms. Boya Chi. Hello, Boya.
Good afternoon, Sammy, and good afternoon, everyone. It's very excited to be back since 2019.
Yes, we said that after 5 years we are being back here. Can you tell us what kind of actions can we expect in this track?
Bangsaen is a racetrack, and Porsche Carrera Asia is now officially hit its mid-season, so the pressure is on. I've just spoken with our talent pool coach earlier today. This track is very difficult to overtake, so definitely whoever got a good quality result have the advantage. But it's Bangsaen, so we don't know what the race will bring us. Let's look forward. Hope everyone has a safe and exciting race.
Yeah, and we know that this is a very favorite stop for all fans in the world and our drivers. Can you share with us what makes this track so special in Bangsaen?
In general, I think everyone likes street circuits, and Bangsaen is one of the best in Asia Pacific. I can see our drivers have been quite active on social media the whole race weekend. Also, if you can see, like we are just beside the coastlines, and it's great, unbeatable atmospheres. We see monkeys on the racetrack. So we're very happy to be back, and we thank Thailand Super Series host today, this weekend.
I think our season has been a very successful one in the region, but can you give us a quick recap on how the season has been so far?
Porsche Carrera Asia has no doubt been already a successful season, and we mentioned Porsche Spring Trophy Thailand as well. This weekend we have 6 cars running there in Porsche Spring Trophy Thailand in GTM class and also in GT4 class. This season they will have 5 events instead of 4. That's the first time for them. And then later in August, Porsche Spring Challenge Indonesia will start its 2nd season. In October, all of us are very much looking forward to a joint finale with Porsche Carrera Asia and also Porsche Sports Cup China.
Seems like there's lots of action, and the season has definitely been a very good success. So with that, thank you so much, Boya. Let's look forward for the race later, and let's pass it back to our commentators.
Thank you to Sammy and to Boyer as well. Very interesting there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. I'm Lewis McGlade, and I'll be guiding you through this weekend of racing around the tight and twisty streets of the Bangsaen street circuit. Certainly a new one for me, and a new one, I'm sure, for quite a few of the drivers. Yes, it has been raced in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, of course, a few years back. It is an exciting circuit. A lot of changes coming into this round, though, when it comes to the drivers. If you joined us last time at the Chang International Circuit and saw the double victory for Alessandro Gueretti, he is not here this round. He announced that in the interview that he is not partaking this weekend, nor is, to be fair, quite a few of our top lot in the championship. So we'll have a little bit of chops and changes as Matthias Jalbert is not here. Dylan Pereira is not in this race. We'll talk about that in a few moments' time. Air temperature around here, 32 degrees Celsius. It is pretty toasty and fairly humid. But, of course, the track temperature that comes with that, it'll be pretty toasty indeed. 50 degrees Celsius. It was 45 a couple of hours ago. It has been building and building and building. Getting a look at some of the trickier corners around this Bangsaen street circuit. This one being turn 6, which is very, very difficult to navigate. We'll have a little closer look at the circuit in a few moments' time. But you can see the drivers all there getting themselves ready and preparing for the race. We'll head down, though, to see our pole driver, and might be a name you're well used to. It's, of course, Florian Latour.
Florian Latour back in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia and back in the hot seat on P1. Great to have you back. What a way to restart. How was that qualifying round for you yesterday?
Yeah, the qualifying was good. I mean, we cannot finish the quali. It's a shame because I was really on the good lap, and then I wanted to finish it. But anyway, you know, it's come back, and then we have the 2 pole with the team Jensen. So yeah, very happy to come back like this.
Have you raced in Bangsaen before on this street circuit, and what do you make of it?
No, I never raced it. I discovered like yesterday. So. And I have to say that is a very hard city track because no chance for the mistakes even on the brakes. So it's very bumpy, which is quite nice. But yeah, very challenging track. And then what is nice is we can find everything like a normal track, but in the city. So this is very nice.
Well, welcome back. Be safe today.
Thank you.
There we go again, our pole sitter, Florian Latour. The reason why I say you might recognise him is that if you've joined us for the 2023 iteration of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, he's our series champion from 2023, making a return here at the Bangsaen Street Circuit. The driver who finished second in the championship, 3-time Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion, Chris van der Drift, is the driver who's come in to jumped back in, I think, to replace Matthias Jalbert, of course. But alas, again, it's not the only championship that we've got that's quite close. Obviously, Alessandro Gueretti's leading the championship. Dylan Pereira and Matthias Jalbert all pretty tight and behind. Those 3 not here means it's perfect time for Martin Raginger to jump in. Dylan Pereira should be racing tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll head down, though, into Pro-Am to catch up with our pole sitter.
Li Xuanyu in pole position among the Pro-Ams. I've got Sammy here to help with translations. Sammy, let's ask him first about Bao Jinlong, who's right alongside him. Can he hold him off today?
就是包金龙就在你的旁边而已，你觉得你有信心可以抵挡得住他的攻势吗？
就放松心态，尽自己最大的努力去做好自己能做的。
I'm just gonna be relaxed and did my best to do whatever I can.
It's a tight circuit, though. It's very difficult to overtake here, isn't it?
就是这个赛道它非常的紧迫，那它其实要超车的话也蛮困难的，对吗？
确实有很少的能超车的地方，而且也都相对比较好防守一点，所以让我们看吧，试试能做点什么。
Indeed, it's very tight, and what we can do is only to play a defensive strategy. So let's see how it goes.
Good luck today.
好，那加油。
And there we go. Of course, Li Xuanyu was won rather in class at the Chang International Circuit. Of course, the previous round of the championship. He currently sits 4th in the title race. Bao Jinlong, who's alongside the championship leader, finished only third in the Pro-Am category. So a lot of work to do in there. I think in the second race they were beaten by Munkong Sat and Tirikul. Either way, speaking of the AM category, let's head down to our pole sitter.
What a great day for Thailand, because in pole position for the amateur drivers is Mongkong Satyarn Tirikul. I'm here with his son and the driver. First of all, How is it to drive on this fabulous circuit with thousands of fans supporting a Thai driver?
Yeah, it feels good because this is the most challenging circuit in Thailand, and it always feels challenge to drive here. And with Thai fan, wow, it's like amazing. Yeah.
You got some Pro-Am drivers behind you. Can you hold them off?
Let's see everything. I don't want to expect anything because here is a street circuit. It's the condition can change every lap by lap. You know, I will see. I will do my best.
Well, they love you here. Every success.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Munkong Satyantirical there, and a driver who has said about the pressures that you kind of have to deal with as a Thai driver on home. So he was talking about this at the Chang International Circuit, of course, a few weeks ago, where he put on quite an impressive performance to take a double victory in that round, and just looked like a force to be reckoned with. Around there, and just delivered on everything that he was hoping and dreaming for. Now we'll have to do very much the same thing again once more on home soil. Let's take a look though at the starting grid. Florida Tour on a return to the championship. We're starting from pole position with Martin Ragnar, who's fourth for the championship, looking to take very important points here. Chris van der Drift, three-time champion, will start from third, with Giltrap starting from fourth. Rodrigo Diaz Almeida and Dylan Yip will be starting from sixth position. Nazim Asman with Li Juan Yu, who will be starting from the Pro-Am pole position. Of course, Bao Jinlong, championship leader, starting from 9th and 2nd in Pro-Am. Munkong Satyantirical will be starting for the pole in Am, with Zhang Yatzi and Li Kai-shun, of course, they're in 12th. Eric Kwong and Cao Tzi Kwon will be starting from 14th position, with Li Chao and Henry Kwong starting from 16th. Bit of work to do for Henry Kwong, as Zhu Zhefeng will start from 17th position, and Yao Liang Bo. Final positions inside the top 20 sees John Chen and Hendrik Jer Sawati starting from that 20th position. Jackie Wu and Christian Chow will be starting from 22nd position. Two more rows left to go, as Lu Wei and Adrian De Silva will round out the 12th row of the grid. One final position being Eric Zong. Now, one thing to note from there, Dylan Pereira was scheduled to race around here, did qualify in third position, and will be taking a point for qualifying in third position. However, is not in this race. The car's not ready. I think it was a bit of an issue, and so will not be partaking in this race. We do hope to see Dylan Pereira out in the race tomorrow, where he does need to score some decent points, especially with the likes of Goretti not being here. This is the kind of round that you need to see him moving his way forward. It does mean that for the top lot, when you consider the drivers that are up there in those top few positions, this could be an open one for them, for the likes of Martin Ragnar, who's in fifth position, who is up there obviously in second position. There's a look at the points for the overall champion. Alessandro Goretti, of course, in first position, with a big gap back to Dylan Pereira. Matthias Jalbert, of course, there in third position, with Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, who might also be able to gain a few decent points positions. Martin Ragnar, though, the highest placed of those that regularly partake in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Bao Jinlong, championship leader, not on pole position though for this one. Eric Zong, Li Chao, and of course Li Juan Yu, who will be starting this one from pole position. Zhang Yatzi inside the top 5 of the championship. Eric Kwong, a bit of work to do to go and catch down to Munkong Satyantirical, who's absolutely fantastic at the Chang International Circuit, especially in the second race. Henry Kwong, a bit of work to do with Cao Tzi Kwon from 4th in the championship, and Liu Jiwei, of course, in 5th. A lot of work for a lot of these drivers to do in what is going to be a very tricky afternoon of driving. It's going to be hard to navigate the circuit at the best of times, hard to keep it out of trouble. It is a difficult one. It's 3.7 kilometers all the way around the 20 turns of the Bangsaen street circuit. Quite a bit of elevation change, of course, around here. Quite a few overtaking spots, despite them not being particularly easy to navigate. Turn 2, overtaking spot. Turn 8, it's a right-hander there. And, of course, turn 18 into that final complex of corners. 18, 19 meters, the final section. You can make some moves. Uphill section as you head up towards turn 1 and then going through that fast right-hander. Of course, quite a bit of undulation around here. Not too much, but enough to keep your eyes on it. Of course, the uneven surface between basically turn 2 all the way up to turn 6, where the surface changes can be very tricky in the braking zone, particularly on that fast run through turn 5 into the braking zone at the hairpin of 6, which is extremely tight. It's kind of, as much as a hairpin, it looks like it's a great overtaking opportunity. The reason why it wasn't highlighted as an overtaking opportunity is because it's a little bit too tight. If you've watched your fair share of street circuit racing, it's not the same as, say, for example, the Grand Hotel hairpin at Monaco. It's much closer to the hairpin at Macau, where it's arguably too tight to send one down the inside. So you've got to be a little bit careful. You've got to be a little bit patient almost to make sure that you don't go for something too silly. There is Van der Drift, 3-time champion in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, awaiting the start lights to come on, awaiting for the formation lap to begin, awaiting for his opportunity to maybe return to the top echelons of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Finished runner-up last year to that driver right there. Again, the expectations for Latour here, we're putting a lot of pressure on his shoulders to potentially go after the victory this afternoon, but I do get the feeling the driver that starts alongside him on the front row will be feeling that same kind of pressure. Martin Ragnar, a lot of work to do. They'll await to start their formation up. Of course, one thing to note about this being a street circuit, there's been a few incidents in some of the previous races causing red flag stuff, which has caused a slight delay. We should be rolling on the formation lap in around 3 minutes time, which is actually on time. Expectations for a safety car very, very high. Of course, as what we were seeing, we've always seen in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, is a 30-minute race is the expected. There's Martin Ragnar. A 30-minute race maximum. 14 laps is the race length. But the expectation for me, at least, we're probably going to see a safety car of some description around here. It is such a difficult circuit to navigate. I don't necessarily see all 25 of our drivers or so working their way through the race particularly cleanly, just because of how difficult this circuit is to navigate. When we talk street circuits, we do always raise that the chance of safety car quite high. But this street circuit, I mean, you've got to raise it even further than that, because it is. As street circuits go, this is up there with being an incredibly difficult one, and so tricky to piece your way through. It's not just you versus your 24 competitors around here. It is you versus the circuit, very counter to the circuits that we've seen thus far in 2024. Of course, the rounds we had at the opening round of the championship at Shanghai, then at Suzuka, then at Chang, all Grand Prix venues, so to speak. They're all FIA Grade 1 circuits. This is extremely different prospect. And the other thing as well is that this will mark halfway through the championship at the end of this weekend, because obviously we would have completed 8 races. There are 8 races left to go, but only over 3 weekends from now. Of course, we've got the Sepang International Raceway after this, where we're doing 3 races. Then Marina Bay, obviously in Singapore, before ending the season at Shanghai again with a triple header out there. And again, counter to how we had last round as well, where we had both the races on the first day. It was all on Saturday, was both races. Here it is 1 race today and 1 race tomorrow on this lovely afternoon. Getting note from race control, the formation lap has been delayed, kind of as expected. There was a red flag towards the end of the previous race that was on during the day, so obviously the marshals and such around the Bangsaen street circuit working very hard to make sure that the circuit is up to standard. It is where it needs to be for these drivers to race around safely. Street circuit racing is dangerous at the best of times, and that's why you need some of the best marshals in the world to make sure that it is as safe as you can possibly get away with when it comes to racing. And again, they'll be making sure that all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, making sure that everything is in place for what will be, I'm sure, quite an interesting race. Again, 14 laps ahead of them. With such a tricky run down towards that first corner, up through the right-hander at T1 into the left-hander at 2. I'm very curious how many drivers are going to be feeling the requirement to go on the attack with immediate effect, because the thing is with street circuit racing, you've got that danger where if you don't go on the attack immediately, if you hold back slightly, that's where you're going to get passed. That's where you're going to get attacked. That's where you are going to lose out. So really, really important for a lot of these drivers to potentially go on the attack with immediate effect. Whether they'll be feeling that necessarily, I mean, there's a few drivers that are in solid positions in the championship, like Bao Jinlong, of course, in the Pro-Am category, who, whilst hasn't qualified on pole position, Li Juan Yu, who is on the pole position, is only 1 position ahead and is quite far back in the championship, so maybe doesn't feel that kind of pressure to potentially go on the attack. You can see here, looking at the crowd, of course, here at the Bangsaen Grand Prix. It's toasty. It is thick, it is humid, and it is hot. Again, lower 30 degrees ambient temperatures, about 32 degrees when we last checked in, which it was earlier on in the day as well, so I don't suspect that would have changed too much. But the track temperature, as we continue to race and drive, the track temperature will be rising. It was 50 degrees Celsius when we last checked. I wouldn't be too surprised if it's dropped off a little bit since then, but only really to like 48 or 49 degrees track temperature. So again, a lot for these drivers to deal with, and I can understand why a couple of them have jumped out of the car, because these cars don't have air conditioning, and I don't know if I'm sure we've all been out and about, and then you come back to your car, you jump in on a really hot day, and it is absolutely vile. That is what these drivers will have to deal with for the next half an hour. So any time that you can get out of the car and get yourself some nice, relatively fresh oxygen, get out. And also, you've got to remember that with the fire suits on, the helmet, the struggles to breathe even sometimes in these conditions, all these drivers will be just hoping for this race to get underway with immediate effect. But you can see a couple of drivers jumping out of the car. That's Zhang Yatzi out of the car. So again, I do believe that we'll be having a fair delay to this formation. I should have started a couple of minutes ago, but I'm sure race controller jumping on them, telling actually, do you know what, this isn't starting anytime soon. So alas, things certainly calming down for the drivers, as they'll wait for their opportunity in this race. It's probably not too far away before we'll see them roll their way around. But again, Marshall's doing a lot of work to bring the circuit back up to its standard after a red flag in the previous race, after a couple of incidents. As you see there, just cooling down. So this is where you want an ice bath or something nearby. Just to, you can just dunk your head in just to get out. But there's Martin Ragginger. Sorry, no, that's not Martin Ragginger. I will correct myself immediately. That is, of course, Giltrap, who's just jumped out of his car. Another one making a jump into the championship. We're being told that the track is again, it's not quite ready yet for us, which is why the marshals have been working. We'll head down though to three-time champion Chris van der Drift.
Well, let's welcome back Chris van der Drift. He's returning to Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. We've got a bit of a delay here. First of all, Chris, you've driven here before. There's a number of drivers here that haven't. What would be your secrets? If you were to pass some advice on, what would you say?
Can't tell anybody that at the moment. I mean, the best thing to do is start from pole. Half the race is already won right there. It's super, super hard to pass. So, yeah, the options don't come around that much. So just have to try and make them pressure, and hopefully they go a bit wide and you can sneak up the inside. But, yeah, I mean, and the rest is just hope we have some green lap racing.
We've seen already some smashes in practice and also in the other races here. Is there a particular corner where drivers might get a little bit excitable, but if they do get excitable, they could be a bit of trouble?
It's pretty much the whole track. I mean, this place is nuts. So many, you got blind corners, you got fast corners, you got huge bumps, and like we're jumping and getting airborne some parts. So it's a crazy track.
It's bumpy as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's quite bumpy. Especially out of corner 2 going up the hill, you get airborne there as well. But it's an awesome place. Awesome to be here and so close to the beach and the water. So.
Have you had a chance to interact with the crowd here? Because we literally got thousands of people in attendance. I know they're all cheering on Mongkong Satyantirical, but I'm sure there'll be a few here rooting for you as well.
Hopefully, yeah.
Have you had a chance to chat with them?
I've seen a few around, but I've been trying to stay cool. I went back for a swim at lunch, and I'm just trying to keep it's so hot today.
Just lastly, favourite bit of Thai food?
Probably pad Thai.
Beautiful. All right, good luck today.
Thank you. Cheers.
There we go. Lovely to hear from Chris van der Drift. Of course, I said before, three-time series champion here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Has raced in a whole lot of things around the world, whether it is Porsches, whether it is TCRs, things like that, touring car style stuff. Great to see him back in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Was, of course, runner-up back in 2023 to Florian Latour. 29 points separated them at the end of the season, and they were just absolutely at each other's throats throughout the entire championship. The lowest the pair of them finished was 6th place, which is Florian Latour. He finished in 6th. One race, they were in the top 5 every other race, the pair of them were in the top 5 every other race, which is just absolutely wild. That's 27 top 5s. Between the pair of them, including a whole host of victories. Whether it will be Van der Drift winning this race, whether it will lean its way maybe even slightly towards Florian Latour to pick up another victory in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, we'll have to wait and see. Getting the note there, 5 minutes, the 5-minute warning there from the marshals. There was apparently a car stuck on the circuit, which sounds like my level of driving, as the marshals were trying to get that car out of the way so that we can get racing. With the 5-minute warning, though, all the drivers will return to their cars, get themselves ready, jump back in, get ready to go. For the drivers, I mean, it's not particularly comfortable for them in the car. You've got to remember, like, with them kind of sat there overheating, etc., all they're thinking about is, when can I get racing? When can this car start moving? Once the car starts moving, you stop thinking about the heat. You stop thinking about the humidity and how uncomfortable it is and how sometimes it can be a little bit hard to breathe. You just think, I can win this race now. I can get a good result now. And so that's all they want. They just want this formation lap to begin. And as soon as they can do so, then things will start to calm down for them. As like I say, you see the likes of Florian Latour there jumping into the wheel. Obviously, they'll get their assistance to actually get strapped into the car, because it's not particularly easy to do the harnesses and such up yourself. I'm wisely informed it is possible to by a few drivers, but you need to do it completely blind. You can't look down and see where the seatbelt is, like in your road car. You've got to imagine your peripheral vision. Either way, we'll head down to see another interview.
Rodrigo dos Almeida is just about getting ready. He's been sort of buckled in again. As far as I can see, he's 5th on the grid. Let's have a word. Rodrigo, you've driven around this circuit already in practice. What do you make of it? It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite tough. The circuit, it's all new for me, especially the first year on the car, quite well, going well, 4th on the championship. I deal well at this circuit. I really enjoy it. Let's go now forward for the race and enjoy it.
How do you balance your desire to overtake the cars in front of you and the fact that it's very risky because there's no runoff area?
If there is any chance or any mistake of the opponent, just need to take it immediately or just put some pressure on it, and if there is a chance, just go for it.
Let me ask you the same question I asked Chris van der Drift a moment ago. Is there a particular part of the circuit where you think it's particularly risky, where, you know, there's a chance that some cars may end up in the barrier?
Yeah, especially corner number 6. The slow one is quite risky. It's yellow zone, so if someone gets in there, crash like in the qualifying in the morning, it's really dangerous for the rest that is coming.
We hope you have success. We also hope you stay safe.
Thank you, mate.
There we go. Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, another driver who is looking to gain a fair amount here, courtesy of the lack in the championship at the moment of Alessandro Gueretti, of Matthias Jalbert, and of course of Dylan Pereira, who I did mention earlier, did qualify for this round, but unfortunately is not participating in this race. Not 100% sure as to the reason as to why yet, but alas, not participating in this race. Will hopefully be back out. Told that the car isn't ready. Whatever that means, which is a big shame for Pereira, who needs to really score some decent points compared to Alessandro Gueretti to close his way back in if he has any aspiration of going after the championship here in the 2024 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Do remember as well, obviously Pereira is the 2022 Mobil 1 Super Cup champion. Did I say 2022? Oh, I don't know what I said. Either way, he's achieved a lot in his career as Dylan Pereira, but unfortunately he'll be achieving absolutely nothing in this race, sadly enough. The formation act will be getting underway in a couple of moments' time. Actually, should be within the next minute or so. There we go. Good timing. Goodness me. Look at the left-hand side of your screen, though, where you can see Martin Raginger, of course, a driver who's up there in the championship, a driver who can really take advantage of this one. He'll be desperate to go on the attack with immediate effect. You know, waiting even a couple of corners for the race to calm down. It's just not really going to work out. We heard from Chris van der Drift there how, you know, pole position is not to say it's easy to win, but I know we're putting words into his mouth, but you know, obviously that's where you want to start on a street circuit anyway. But in these, really, you do need to be starting from the pole. It's such a difficult circuit to overtake at the best of times. But when you account for the speed these cars take to the circuit, yeah, it's almost impossible to make a move once the race is underway, which means it will be you versus the race circuit. So, with the 15-second board held up just a few moments ago, the green flag is displayed and the formation lap begins. They'll roll their way out of pit lane. And the Bangsaen race, the Bangsaen Grand Prix, of course, the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia will be about to get underway. We'll remind ourselves of the entry list, though. Of course, we did check it out a little bit earlier on, but of course, Florian Latour, 2023 champion, will be returning to the championship with a pole position alongside Martin Ragginger, who, of course, is the only person in the top four who's a mainstay in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia in 2024. Chris van der Drift, of course, the driver who won the championship 3 times in his career in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, will be starting from 3rd. Marco Giltrap will be starting from 4th position. Caught up with Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, a driver who can gain some decent bits from this round in 5th position, with Dylan Yip, who's shown some fantastic pace in qualifying. He'll be starting from 6th position. Nazim Asman will be starting from 7th. Then into the Pro-Am pole, where Li Juan-Yu was able to sneak one over the champion leader Bao Jinlong. He'll be starting just 1 position behind. Li Juan-Yu obviously took a victory at the second race at the previous round, of course, at the Chang International Circuit, where Munkung Satyanthirakul took a double victory in the AM category. In fact, finished ahead of all of the Pro-Am drivers in the second race as well. Showed how good he was. Zhang Yatzi will be starting from 11th position, with Li Kai-shun from 12th. Then we've got Eric Kwong, who's starting a few positions behind one of his champion rivals, being that of Munkung Satyanthirakul. He'll be starting alongside Cao Tzi Kwon in the 14th position. Li Chao will start from 15th position alongside Henry Kwong, who, of course, sits there 3rd in the championship, losing a little bit of ground, unfortunately, to Munkung Satyanthirakul. It was a Kwong 1-2 in the championship when we were at the heading into the Chang International Circuit. It certainly isn't now, as we'll see Zhu Jiafeng in 17th position, with Yao Liang Bo in 18th. John Shen will be starting from 19th position. The number 88 of Hendrik Jayasawati starting the final position inside the top 20. A few more drivers left to go, with Jackie Wu starting from 21st position. He had a couple of struggles at the Chang International Circuit, including a couple of spins, with Christian Shah starting from 22nd position. Liu Jiawei starts from 23rd in the 777 car, before we get to the final 2 positions on the grid. Adrian De Silva starting from 24th from the final row, lacking one Mr. Dylan Pereira, because he is not on the grid for this race. Eric Zong will be starting from the final position on this grid. The driver who's second in the Pro-Am Championship, starting from the rear of the field, and a lot of work to do. Getting a marvellous look, though, at the circuit, seeing all of its trials and tribulations, seeing all of its difficulties, twists and turns. Again, how are these drivers going to keep themselves out of trouble around here? How are they going to navigate it? How are they going to prepare themselves best? Getting the tyres into the operating window is obviously very important, but also is making sure that you don't overdo it, because the thing is, with the temperature around here, it's so easy to overdo the tyres, to bring them too high up in the operating window, to the point where you've actually overdone it slightly, and things aren't going to look ideal. It's an uphill run towards turn 1 as they work their way into the final sector. Now this is turn 18 and 19 as they'll work their way through the right-hander of 20. That is actually quite a good overtaking opportunity. It's a bit wide, but the braking zone for it is quite fast. It's more of almost a medium speed hairpin, not really super slow like what we see at turn 6 rather, sorry, for example. They work out onto the start-finish straight, where they head into the grid boxes and prepare themselves for what is going to be a very difficult race. Again, 14 laps or 30 minutes, whichever one comes first. And do remember, of course, the expectation of a safety car is extremely high around the Bangsaen street circuit, where it is narrow, it is difficult, it is tight and twisty, and like I say, we'll have to wait and see as to whether it will show a safety car, or will fortune favour the brave? Who's feeling brave this afternoon? And of course, tomorrow afternoon we'll have to do this one once again. Into the pole position comes Latour on his return to Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. He is the series champion, has to defend from Martin Ragginger, who knows it's now or never if he's to move himself further up in the championship. You've got to take advantage of the opportunity ahead of Van der Drift, the 3-time Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion. A lot of pressure on these drivers. Hopefully we'll see Alessandro Gueretti return to the championship, because I do want to see his championship challenge continue. Of course, he's been so dominant. That car, the 55, has won the last 5 races in the championship. They are absolutely flying in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Will that continue, though, as the final few drivers work their way into position? Adrian De Silva and, of course, Eric Zong there in the background in the blue car. Adrian De Silva in the blue car and Eric Zong on the right-hand side will work his way into position. The yellow flag for the marshal then goes to green because we're about ready to go racing here at the Bangsaen street circuit. So the lights will come on. It'll be the control of the starter. Florian Latour from pole position. There's already a jump start in the background, though, with someone working their way through, and there's a big crash in all of that. Oh, my goodness me. That was Zhu Feng who's made the jump start, and he has gone for a huge spin into the barrier with a big crash there. Just a massive jump start. There's already been huge drama, already a couple of bumps as well, because sneaking his way through comes Martin Ragginger into the race lead. Florian Latour has to settle for second spot, but that was an excellent start from Martin Ragginger, and unfortunately for the mid-pack, a little bit too dramatic. There's going to be a few Porsches that need their repair straight away. Will there be a safety car? The flags remain green for now. The marshals will desperately try and clean up all that mess on a start-finish straight with immediate effect as they work their way through the turn 6 hairpin and then out on this very far stretch down towards an excellent overtaking opportunity if you're brave. A 90-degree right-hander as they fly their way through. Excellent start though from Martin Ragnar, and the safety car has been deployed. Let's see a replay of all of this. So I will say, I'm not sure as to who that was. I think it was Way. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. In fact, no, it was Zhang Yatzi who moved right on the race start, which typically I'd be like, you've moved right into a car, which is very dangerous. Who checks their mirrors when the red lights go out? No one. There's no way he would have actually known realistically there was a car there. And you might say, oh yeah, but the noise should have given it away. The thing is, because you're revving the car to its absolute highest level before you take to the race start, I don't really think Zhang Yatzi could really have done anything there. It was just the false start that came in from the 75 of Zhu Feng that kind of opened that one up. Highly dramatic race start, of course, and again, it was an excellent one, and everything that Martin Ragginger needed to take over the race lead down into the second corner. He was able to sneak his way past and looks in high stead for the race. There is, unfortunately, Eric Zong's car. I mean, he did start from the rear of the field, driver second of the championship Pro-Am. Not going to be scoring anything in the Pro-Am category here today, so we'll have to look forward to tomorrow. The problem is starting towards the rear of the field. Your back's against the wall, you're putting yourself up against it, and unfortunately that car a retirement from proceedings. And again, a lot of work for the mechanics to do. Hopefully the damage isn't too bad. You can see it's kind of ripped the front right basically off the car. You can see all the liquid that's been leaked from it, so the marshals need to sort that one out before we go back racing again. It does mean that we're more likely to lean towards this being a timed race rather than distance-wise. We'll see what happens as well. Goodness me. Just going straight on was the 75 of Zhu Feng after the jump start. I think he's trying to retire from the race, is he not? Just trying to get it down the escape road and get it off the road. Is that a red flag? It certainly is a red flag. So red flag deployed. I don't know what that does with the timer. I think the timer will still be counting down, but the laps will not be ticked off. So the timer will keep going. At the moment, there's 26 minutes and 40 seconds left of this racing, and you can see it there in the top left. This will now become a timed race, almost certain. There's no way we'll be able to do the full stead of 14 laps. Did hear Chris Vanderdrift in at the start of the race. What was it that he said? It was. I hope we just see a lot of green flag racing. We saw it for 5 corners, so at least there was that. 6. We did get out of the hairpin before the safety car was called, to be fair. I'll roll you through the order though, whilst we're here, at least the top 5 of each category. Martin Ragginger, Florian Latour, Chris Vanderdrift, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida and Marco Giltrap, the top 5 of the pro category, with Dylan Yip and Nazim Asman, the entirety of the pro category. Why not? Malcolm Satian-Tirakel is ahead of all of the Pro-Am drivers, as he'll be in 8th position in the race, with Bao Jinlong, who has taken over the race lead from Li Juanyu in the Pro-Am category. So the series leader now heads the front of Pro-Am, with Liu Kai-shun, of course, in 11th position. Eric Kwong with Cao Tzi Kwon Of course, in 13th position, Yao Liangbo and Henry Kwong will be in 15th position, but 5th in class at the moment in the AM category. And then we've got Li Chao, who is 4th in Pro-Am, but currently sits 16th overall. John Shen, Christian Cha, Hendrik J. Sawati and Adrian De Silva, the drivers running in the top 20. There's been issues for Zhu Feng, of course. We saw the race start there with a jump start and returning down pit lane. Also issues for the 888 of Zhang Yatsi, the 969 of Jackie Wu, Liu Gervais as well, who is in the 777. Eric Zong, of course, who we saw there, and of course Dylan Pereira not in this race, as the drivers will return their way into pit lane courtesy of the red flag, and for the drivers getting some clean air into the car and some cool air, more importantly, into the car. It didn't really last long, did it, before the red flag instantly came out, all courtesy really of that race start, unfortunately. Zhu Feng just going a little bit too early on the race start. I will say that kind of stuff is very easy. You might have seen a clip of the V8 Super Utes back in Phillip Island years ago. It might be 2015 actually. Where the lights come on and instantly the pole sitter or the person who's second jumps the race start immediately. If you're not there with the handbrake or the line locker as it is in that, and the clutch or however, if you're not there perfect with all of that and it just crawls forward, the best thing to do is just to commit and just to go for it, because you're going to get a penalty anyway, right? You've jumped the race start. Even if you come to a stop, you have already done the breach. You've already essentially committed the crime, so to speak. You are going to get a penalty for it. The worst thing to do in that scenario is then just stop. Just keep going. Just get on with it. And that, to be fair, is what Zhu Feng did. But unfortunately, the race start here is just so tight that all those drivers on the starting grid, they just really had nowhere else to go, I'm afraid. And it all just got a little bit messy. Obviously, the drivers trying to cool themselves down, so instantly, as soon as they've all pulled up, every single one of them will have opened the door. Let's be honest, these windows, they don't wind down. Race car windows don't typically do that, so obviously door straight away open, get as much air as possible, open the other side as well, get that air moving through the car. Wouldn't be too surprised if any of the teams will bring some form of fan or blower or something straight over just to try and cool things down a little bit more, making sure that you're hydrated as well, get some water into the system, because again, it is sweaty around here. So I know it's not quite the same level, but in Formula One, the drivers can lose 3-4 kilos purely through sweat and exertion. It's not quite as bad in this, but still, I wouldn't be too surprised if the drivers weighing at the end of the race were around a kilo lighter, just courtesy of the pure physicality of taking on a street circuit. Adrian De Silva here, of course, who has kept himself out of trouble, runs in 20th position now in this race, despite starting from the penultimate row of the grid in 24th position. There is Nazim Azman, who remains at the rear end of the Pro category. Of course, still 7th position in Pro. Still looking happy as ever, though. He'll have the local lad directly behind him on the race start, Munkog Satyan Tirikul, who will be desperate to find his way past. Hendrik Sawati, of course, in the AM category, currently running in 8th position in the AM category. There's Dylan Yip, who has actually had some really good performances, I must say. He's shown some really good speed. Sometimes the races haven't quite worked out for Dylan Yip. Did put on quite a show, though, of course, at the previous round of the championship, the Chang International Circuit. Would very much need to do the same thing again today, although still remains in 6th position. Christian Cha for the open road racing. Again, these drivers, they're trying to find some way of keeping their mind in the race. I do have, and you can see it in the top left, the lap count has returned to 0. So I wonder if we're going to have a full race restart here, because no lap was completed. And of course, still got the half an hour. It seems as though the entirety has been reset. Whether that will be the case, whether it's because race control will reset it for now and then take a given amount of time off of the race, which would make more sense. It's typically how they would tend to do it, to make sure that we're getting as much racing as possible, but still doing within the limits. Especially with busy weekends like this, it's normally a little bit more uncommon to do the entirety of the race reset, unless you're on something like Formula One or IndyCar, where you've kind of got a lot more control of the race weekend. There's a lot of racing that happens here at the Bangsaen Grand Prix. We'll have to keep that an eye on that and an update on that from race control, as there is Li Chao, obviously 15th position at the moment in the race, still sits 5th in the Pro-Am category. It's only Eric Zong who he is able to be ahead of in the Pro-Am category. There is 3-time champion Chris van der Drift for Toro Racing. What he's unfortunately seen his teammate retire from proceedings after an issue on the race start there. Henry Kwong. I mean, you can't miss either of the Kwong's cars. For me personally, Eric Kwong's car, better livery, just because there's a bit more colour on it. I like a little bit of blue, bit of pink, bit of green on there as well. It looks fantastic. But I've got to say, Henry Kwong's does look absolutely fantastic. There is our race leader, though, Florian Latour, of course, replacing Gueretti here for this round. What a fitting driver to replace Alessandro Gueretti in this one, courtesy of the fantastic victories that Gueretti's had, the fantastic championship that, of course, Latour had back in 2023, and just looking super duper strong in that race. Of course, did lose out the race leads to Martin Ragginger. However, if this is going to be a full race restart, we'll regain the race lead, courtesy of that being the full race restart, which is actually what I do have on my screen. Is that correct? I believe so, actually. So on my screen, on the live timing, it has reset it to where we will actually have Martin Ragginger, who will drop back behind. So we'll have to do that overtake again, which I think is a little bit unfair. He did all the work down towards turn 1, has been effectively penalised for it, just because of the red flag. No fault of his own, just how it goes. Obviously, lots of fans and such around here. Probably kind of heard Sammy and Steve talking about this earlier when they were down on the starting grid. It is probably the most people that we have around for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. As a standard round of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, just absolutely fantastic to see all the people out there ready to go, ready to support. Not just here, but every race at the Bangsaen Grand Prix, which is great to see, because street circuits are tricky to run at the best of times, but when you've got one like this, they're hard to put together. They're hard to kind of run on a yearly basis. You need that fan support. You need the local support as well, and it does seem as though there certainly is that here at the Bangsaen Grand Prix. Good circuit as well. Again, it's a circuit that I wasn't familiar with coming into this, which, as someone who at least I do a fair amount of esports and stuff when it comes to sim racing, the racing version of esports. And I love myself a street circuit. I chuck myself around basically any of them. If you've got walls nearby, I want to give it a go. I have not raced this one, that is for sure, and certainly does look like a lot of fun. There is Eric Kwong's car. Said I liked it quite a bit more. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, a little bit of pink. Speaking my language there, that is exactly what I want. There is Zhao Ti Quan, who is looking pretty impressive. They've got a little bit of work to close back up to Li Xuan Yu, who will be taking over, who will retake, rather, at least as far as the timesheets would say, will retake over the pole at the moment in the Pro-Am category. Of course, he did lose out to Bao Jinlong. No, I've got it as Bao Jinlong's in 7th place. Never mind. I'm just confusing myself with how I'm reading my timesheets. I think it's changed a little bit recently as well, but we'll not talk about that one. I think our race controller is kind of sorting out as to what position everyone is actually in and how to sort themselves out. As again, the marshals out there, the fantastic marshals, will be working hard to tidy up the cars. And the thing is, with a crash like that, we saw the front of Eric Zong's car where a lot of liquid had leaked out, had seeped out of the front right. That liquid is extremely slippery. So the drivers will be working, the marshals rather, will be working really, really hard to tidy all of that up, to get that all into position, to get themselves ready for this race, because you can't. The thing with circuit racing is that you can't just go, oh well, we've got the car out of the way and we repair the barrier, off we go racing. If there's still liquid and stuff, you need to get the basically the absorbent material down to soak up some of that liquid, whether it is oil or brake fluids and things like that. Like all these the stuff that makes these cars work basically, and makes them work at the highest order. A lot of work required to piece them into it. Can see there a couple of drivers, a couple of cars that have been brought back. I believe that might have been Jackie Wu's car that has returned to pit lane. Actually, it might be Zhang Yazi's car that has been returned into pit lane, where the mechanics will begin a repair job, which will obviously take them to tomorrow, where we'll qualify again, we'll race again. Of course, we're still going to do this race, don't worry. But of course, a lot of these teams that have already had issues, they'll already be thinking, right, this race is obviously done. We're not involved in this one anymore. Let's eye ourselves up a chance of returning. Let's see the race start replay. So we got the jump start in the background from the number 75 of Zhu Feng. You'll just see blue car about 8, 9, 10 back on the right-hand side as the 5-second ball comes up. That car will crawl forward. There it goes, jumping through the middle, and then watches as the race start happens. Unfortunately, just not really anything for the likes of Jackie Wu, of Zhang Yazi to really do. That was Zhang Yazi that moved over. There's Jackie Wu to the barrier, the 777 of Christian Cha as well, and there is the retirement. That car that was stationary in the start-finish straight, that is Eric Zong. Who was unable to get going much further past Vittora Racing, who obviously have Chris van der Drift up towards the front. Huge drama for them, and indeed very, very unfortunate. But again, that is street circuit racing. You've always got to be on the edge of your seat and keeping your eyes focused, especially when it is this hot and humid. It's why a lot of these drivers can sometimes let the conditions get the better of them, and then they falter. Courtesy of the conditions difficulty, but again, it's how you define difficult conditions. Is it heat? Some drivers work better in some than the other. You hear all the time in motorsport of drivers that work better in wet weather racing than they do in dry. What about working better in hot conditions than cold? Because the way the car works, it's all very dynamic. And Munkung Satin Tiriko on the grid was basically saying how every lap around here is going to be different, it is tricky for them to navigate, generally speaking. And like I say, it's certainly not easy. As the marshals, I think they might have been told something by race control, because a lot of the marshals moved over to the left-hand side. So fingers crossed, we're beginning this formation lap very, very soon indeed, because we do want to see some racing. No one wants to hear me waffling on for half an hour like what we've had, but we do want to see these race cars moving around the Bangsaen street circuit. Again, the marshals working hard just to tidy everything up. It's one of those, I wouldn't say it's a thankless task, because everyone thanks them for it, but it's one of those tasks which is so tricky to deal with, is being a marshal. You've got so much to juggle, so much pressure, and it's so easy where some marshals might be stressed. They might feel the time. They might think, "Well, hang on, we've not been racing for half an hour." They feel the pressure to tidy everything up. But again, they've got to go through essentially their checklist. They've got to make sure that the track is perfect. If it's about right, that's not good enough. It needs to be perfect to go racing. The only thing that is good enough is when everything is right and ready. There is nothing short of that that will be good enough to go racing on, because that's where it is no longer safe for the drivers to race around. And alas, that's sometimes how it goes. They're working their way to the end of pit lane now, where they'll be heading back out to the race circuit. Of course, you can see the cones there in the way as the marshals come over with the timing boards as well, to let the drivers know exactly how long until they'll be rolling their way around. Big delay again. We've not had an update from race control as to how long this race is going to be. And I would walk you through the starting grid, but I'm actually not 100% sure as to what it will be, because there's a couple of drivers that are out of position compared to their original starting positions. So if I read you through the original starting positions, then that's not correct. But then a few drivers have been moved back into position courtesy of the race start. For example, Martin Raginger took over the race lead. You can see here, he will be behind Florian Latour. But then there are drivers like Bao Jinlong, who were a couple of positions behind even Li Xuan Yu. but Bao Jinlong is in 7th position, whereas Li Xuanyu is down in 9th position. So there's a couple of positions that maybe aren't quite right on my timing sheets, but from what I'm seeing, it does seem fairly correct. So, do you know what? I might read my way through it just to see. Again, another thing to talk about here, as we've got Florian Latour then restarting this race from pole position. There's the safety car that will head back out. Martin Ragner will be in 2nd. Chris van der Drift will be in 3rd. Marco Giltrap and Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida will be inside the top 5, with Dylan Yip, Bao Jinlong, Nassim Asman, Li Xuanyu and Munkul Satin-Tirikul inside the top 10. If you're not getting this now, don't worry, I'll repeat it on the formation app when they go round to do it. Zhang Yatsi in 11th position, with Liu Kai Shun in 12th. Eric Kwong, Zhao Ti Quan with Li Chao, Henry Kwong, of course, Zhou Feng. Actually, see, that's the thing. He won't be on the race start because he was involved in that instance. There's a few of these that actually haven't involved in, like even Zhang Yatsi, so I don't even know why I'm committing to it. I'm going to bail from that one immediately because there are a few drivers that will be missing from that one. Note from the race controllers that we all should be racing or should be heading back out onto the formation app very, very shortish. At the moment, according to my time, it is 30 minutes and 14 laps, or 14 laps or 30 minutes, whichever one comes first, left to go in this race. To wait and see though as to whether that will be indeed shortened. They only did half a lap of racing, so there is the potential that we do just get the entirety and just commit to it to see exactly what goes on. But hopefully this time there won't be any major jump starts like what we saw on the previous one from the 75 of Xu Jiefeng, who obviously just mistimed it. As soon as the lights had come on, I think it just released the clutch. It has happened. As soon as you're so ready to go, anything changes, and your mind tells you it's now, it's time to go. You just release the clutch and off you go. Did well to avoid everyone, but then of course, unfortunately, the start very unfortunately placed from Zhang Yatsi, who just moved straight into the path basically of the 75 jump starting Xu Jiefeng. Of course, you can see conversations happening behind the scenes in what is some extremely tasty pit lane proceedings, but still a lot of talking to happen behind the scenes, a lot of preparations to happen while the drivers get themselves into the mindset to go racing once more at the Bangsaen street circuit. And of course, the pressure will be building once more. Some drivers can handle red flag conditions better than others. Of course, some drivers like to just get into the race. Everything needs to be on time. Everything needs to be in the right place at the right time, and that's how they find their rhythm. Other drivers are a bit more lax with it. They can relax. They can see themselves into a solid position and just kind of just roll with it basically, and not worry too much, and just kind of let the positives come with the negatives. And that, to be fair, in a scenario like this, is almost certainly the best position to be in, because if you're one of those drivers that everything needs to run all the time, basically being extremely OCD, if that's the case where everything needs to run perfectly on time, this is a racing weekend. Things don't run on time. That is one of the most important things. Sometimes things will go late, sometimes things will go early, and sometimes things go exactly as they should do, and who's going to react best to it. A minute before we go back out onto the race circuit, I don't even know if we're going to have a standing start, whether it's going to be their grid slots and roll off from there. And the best start on the previous, well, it was that of Martin Ragner, who was able to sneak his way through into the race victory, or to race lead rather, on Florian Latour, going down into the first and second corner. We'll very much need to do that once more. There's Li Xuanyu, who will obviously be starting a couple of positions behind Bao Jinlong now, at least according to my timing sheets, where of course Bao Jinlong is the championship leader, is the driver that leads, as the pit exit has indeed opened. These drivers will be moving their way forward. The green flag waves, and it will be Florian Latour leading the cars out onto the start. Again, hopefully we'll be able to update you with how many drivers we have left to go in this race, because obviously we have lost a fair few. Have just seen the note that Bao Jinlong has actually come out behind Li Xuanyu, so I believe it will be the initial race grid order, and it will be a normal standing start. So the positions, the cars that are missing, So the likes of Zhang Yatzi, the likes of Eric Zong, etc., those grid slots will just be empty. They will be missing. We'll be taken to the initial race start. So it will be Florian Latour back on pole position. It will be Martin Ragner in second position on the race start. I'll talk you through actually the starting grid anyway. Yes, Florian Latour in pole position with Martin Ragner in second, Chris van der Drift in third position with Marco Giltrap in fourth, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida in fifth position with Dylan Yip and Nazim Asman, the pro drivers. Then we'll get Li Juan Yu, who's on the pro and pole position, starting alongside Bao Jin Long with Munkon Sati and Tiriko, who had actually jumped up to the lead of even the pro-am category. Is the AM pole position driver on home soil here. Zhang Yatzi will not be taking to the race start courtesy of the issue. So he was originally slated to be starting from 11th position, of course, involved in that incident, with Li Kai-shun in 12th. Eric Kwong will be starting from 13th position, with 14th for Cao Ti Kwon in 14th. Of course, 15th is Li Chao, Henry Kwong in 16th position. Zhu Zhefeng will not be taking to the race start in 17th position. Yao Liang Bo in 18th, with John Shen in 19th. Henrik Jayasawati in 20th. With Jackie Wu, who I don't also believe will be taken to the race start, who was originally slated to start from 21st. Christian Char as well, 22nd. Don't believe will be taken to the race start. Lu Gervais, Adrian De Silva on the penultimate row of the grid. The final one being Eric Zong, who of course will not be in the race courtesy of that retirement. Lovely drone shot there as we head our way around the formation lap for the second time. And hopefully the race will be underway in a solid position, and hopefully this time we get to see our way to the checkered flag. With that delay, and with that note, we're returning to our standard grid slots. I have to wonder then if we will be running to the standard race length. I am being told that the race end time will be 16:10. Which is in 16:10 local time, obviously, which is in 17 minutes from now. So the race will most certainly be shorter. The track temperatures come down by 3 degrees and all that down to 47 degrees Celsius. So the track temperature has dropped slightly in what will be a shortened race. By the time we actually get the race going again, it might just be 15 minutes on the clock, so a half race distance for them to do so. But in that time, they can probably get 8, maybe 9 of the laps complete. Obviously dependent on, it'll probably be 8 laps really of the race, maybe 7, but we'll have to wait and see on that one of the race, provided there is no safety car intervention, which again is extremely high. And again, getting that note, confirmation from race control, the checker flag will be at 16:10. So it is 15:54 at the moment. So at the moment, it's the checker flag will be 16 minutes time. Once everyone's in their position, it's going to take at least a minute for that to happen. So of course, it will then be around the 14 to 15 minute mark left to go in the race. There's Cao Ti Kwon, who of course will be starting this one from 14th position. I have on my sheet as the order returns to normality. Will Florian Latour learn from the previous race start, where he was beaten on the race down towards the first corner by Martin Ragner? Or will Ragner, the Austrian, have another ace up his sleeve and will be able to sneak his way past? A lot to talk about in this race, as the drama has already come out into its fullest display around the Bangsaen street circuit. What more do we have in store as the race will be prepared? Round 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia looks to try and get back underway as the lights will come on. It's Florian Latour starting from pole position alongside Martin Ragner, and we are racing once again. Good start from Chris van der Drift, and a good start as well, but I think the likes of Rodrigo Diaz Almeida on the race down towards the first corner. What will happen here? Ragner once again with a better launch, but look at that, straight around the outside. Chris van der Drift, 3-time Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion, has come from 3rd position straight up to the race lead as he leads as we climb up the hill on this uneven surface towards the hairpin at turn 6. I think that might have been Cao Ti Kwon that was going a little bit slow in the background, but it is van der Drift leading from Latour, from Martin Ragner as well, as there's a couple of bits of side-by-side in the background. They work their way into the awkward turn 6 hairpin and then punch their way out as we prepare for the run towards the right-hander, the 90-degree right-hander. The next time they'll be onto the brakes and turning in, as there is Cao Ti Kwon, unfortunately, with the issue, was running in 13th position with that front right wheel certainly no longer attached to his Porsche. So unfortunately, will not be scoring anything from this race, and will have to return to pit lane for the repairs. He'll be trying to get that one back round, but you've got to be careful not to overdo it on the speed, because that's where you can potentially pick up some extra damage to the car and give your mechanics even more work to do. In fact, he has pulled over. Double yellows are out. Of course, I think that might, if he's not able to get that car moving any further, it'll be a safety car. Guess what? It's a safety car. It's a safety car deployed then as the yellow flags will come out across the circuit. Chris van der Drift then, your race leader from Florian Latour. Sadly, we've only had a few corners of racing really in this one, and with 13 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the race, you'd have to imagine we are going to get back racing once more. But for how long? It just depends on how long it takes them to get Toti Kwan's car out of the way. Did not see where the damage would have come from. But that, of course, was probably would have been down into T1, T2 because he was slow coming out of the second corner, which is where we saw. And there the car has pulled over to one side. The notes from the marshals as to where the car is, and saying to please move right, as the drivers will sneak their way past. Confirmation at the top of your screen as to how long's left to go in the race. 12 minutes and 50 seconds. Realistically, that car's not in an awful spot, but I don't know where the escape roads are. And you can kind of see there, as much as he's pulled into a relief road, the marshals will absolutely not get the race going again with that car sat there. So they'll have to roll it backwards or forwards, depending on where the opportunity is for them to get the car relieved from the race circuit. The car is still on, thankfully, so they won't have to necessarily push the car. Which is what they'll be hoping, because if they do have to push the car, with the front right broken in the way that it is, it's going to be almost impossible to push. It'll be like pushing your car whilst it's still in gear. Almost impossible. But alas, they'll... again, the marshals are well experienced. They're far more experienced than I. They have an answer to all of the situations that these drivers put them under. As you can see, the safety car out there ahead of Van der Drift. What a start from Chris van der Drift, Dave. I did think it was a pretty good one, but my goodness me, Rodriguez Diaz Almeida was able to get past Marco Giltrap as well on the race start. But Chris van der Drift straight around the outside, going through the turn one. So committed, so brave, so fantastic to sneak past Florian Latour and Martin Ragnar, who I thought had a good start. I don't know if it was because it was a perfect start from Van der Drift, or if it was more because it was a bit of a disappointing start from Florian Latour, who did seem to struggle a little bit. Off of the line there, but it is what it is. Race start is under investigation from race control as they head down into the penultimate corner at 18 and 19, then out towards turn 20, where they head out back onto the start, finish straight, and then up towards turn 1. But race start under investigation. Is there a potential jump start of a Van der Drift? I don't believe so. I think it was timed right, but then we didn't have lights, so I didn't see the lights from my angle, so I've got absolutely no idea. Could well have been. Fastest lap of the race comes in from Dylan Yip, and now it's been dropped to Lee Kai-shun. Obviously, I jest. It means nothing at the moment because obviously we're on the safety car. So yeah, it is what it is on that one. Although I will say there is a point for fastest lap, and I guess that point doesn't really matter. How the fastest lap was achieved doesn't really matter. I'll correct myself. If it's the fastest lap of the race, it's the fastest lap of the race. It doesn't matter whether it was done under safety car or not, because obviously it's a lot slower. They're not setting rapid lap times here. If we are on a safety car to the end of the race, then who knows? Chris van der Drift did have the fastest lap. That has now been moved to Adrian De Silva, who now has the fastest lap of 2:19.258. At the moment, and I will just say the 3-2-1 is under investigation. That is Lee Juan Yu. Unfortunately, from the Pro-Am poll, is under investigation for jumping the race start. Or it says false start. I'll correct my terminology there to make sure that I'm in line with what race control is saying, to not jump with anything. And he's just been given a 10-second time penalty. Has the 3-2-1. So Lee Juan Yu, the driver who currently sits 10th position in this race, has just been given a 10-second time penalty for a false start. I'm afraid as there is Bao Jinlong looking to return to the top of the Pro-Am category. Of course, tops the championship, no problem whatsoever, but didn't win the previous race of 2024. In fact, came up a couple of positions short, to be perfectly honest, as well. So, yeah, it's fine. They've managed to get Cao Tiquan's car onto the back of the low loader, which, again, there was no way they were going to push the car out of the way, so they needed that or something else to get it out of the way, which, again, doesn't make sense. Again, the marshals have said before, they've got an answer to everything, and they certainly had an answer to that one. So hopefully, we won't get racing this time by. Hopefully next time by, we'll be able to see these Porsches roar their way around the Bangsaen street circuit, and what will probably be by that point maybe 3 laps left to go. It'll just take them quite a while to navigate the circuit when under running at the safety car speed. Of course, yes, the last lap was 2 minutes and 21 seconds, but in fact, probably won't be too far slower than that. 2 minutes 31, there you go, to do that lap. And of course, based on qualifying, the lap times they're looking for is actually towards the 1 minute 36s, 1 minute 37s, which is where they're probably running in this race, is towards the 1 minute 37s. Maybe we'll get 4 laps of racing, dependent on safety car interventions, should there be any more. Martin Ragnar there will probably feel pretty hard done by after his exploits to the race lead. I mean, the initial start was so good from him, right? He was able to sneak his way past Florian Latour to take over the race lead on the initial race start. And then the red flag comes out, and now he's found himself down a position, thinking, what have I done wrong now? Getting a note from race control, safety car will be in at the end of this lap. So very quickly then, to roll you through the grid before we get racing. Chris Vanderdrift taking over the race lead from third position on the race start. Florian Latour from pole position down to second spot. Martin Ragnar in third. Rodrigo Diaz Almeida will be restarting this race from fourth position with Marco Giltrap, Dylan Yip, and Nazim Asman, of course, the pro category drivers. Bao Jinlong in eighth position, the pro-am leader, with Munkon Satyantirical in ninth, again, the AM leader. Li Juanyu does have a post-race time penalty of 10 seconds. He'll be starting alongside Li Kaixun, or ahead of Li Kaixun, because obviously we'll be going racing under a rolling start. Eric Kwong, second in the AM category, starting 12th overall, with Henry Kwong directly behind him. Li Chao, of course, in 14th position, with Yao Liang Bo, Hendrik Jayasawati, with John Shen, Adrian De Silva and Christian Cha, the 19 drivers that remain themselves in this race. Already seen dramas and retirements from Cao Tiquan, Zhang Yatzi, Zhu Jiafeng, Jackie Wu, Li Jiawei, and of course Eric Zong as well. So all of those retiring from the race. The safety car will be returning its way into pit lane once we get down into the 18th and 19th corners, and then we'll head back out onto the start-finish straight. Chris Vanderdrift will have the control of the race, something which he is well aware as to how to deal with, as he'll try and charge his way around the Bangsaen street circuit, looking for a victory on his return to Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. We are back underway with 6 minutes left to go in this race. Expectations are that we'll be able to sneak potentially 4 laps of racing left to go in this one. So plenty of time for them to battle their way up the order. Plenty of time for them to drop their way back down. Much cleaner down into turn 1, courtesy of it not being a standing start where they've had their dramas into the first corner. Vanderdrift will continue to lead from Florian Latour as the racing finally gets underway. Now they can get into the rhythm around this circuit. There is the number 7 of Bao Jinlong on the rear end of Nazim Asman, probably looking for an opportunity fairly soon, because it does seem as though Bao Jinlong's looking pretty quick around here, keeping up with all of the pro drivers. Of course, the leader of the Pro-Am category as we head out of turn 6 down towards the braking zone into the right-hander at turn 7, turn 8, as we'll head our way through, and then everything narrows as we head through turn 9, 10, and then through this snaking sequence where things are so tricky, very much akin to the high-speed section at the likes of Macau, where things are so narrow, so difficult. Or if you've even seen almost like the Newcastle street circuit in Australia, just before you go through the staircase. Honestly, it's absolutely fantastic as a street circuit is this one here at Bangsaen, and things are pretty settled for Chris Vanderdrift. The top 2 in the championship back in 2023, Vanderdrift versus Florian Latour. Well, it was the other way around in 2023. It's Florian Latour who came out on top in the championship in that one. Chris Vanderdrift looking to say, no, you don't, mate. Not so easy as he stares down the eyes of victory here. 4 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. 3 laps left here at the Bangsaen Street Circuit of round 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Of course, the top few in the championship not here for this race. Obviously, we've said before about Jalbert and Guiretti. We've said about how Dylan Pereira is not in for this race. It's the perfect time for the likes of Martin Ragnar to get on with it, as Bao Jin Long is really trying to get on with it himself, all over the rear end of Nazim Azman for 7th position at the moment. Can't quite find the move. Did have a good look at T2, it must be said. Turn 6 a little bit too tight on the hairpin for them to really try anything to give it a go. But then it's all about getting the power down comfortably and cleanly on the race down towards turn 8 as they go through the kink at 7. Now onto this enormous stretch down towards turn 8. Fastest lap of the race coming in from Van der Drift. It was instantly reset from Florian Latour as an instant involving the 117, which is Zhao Ziquan will be reviewed after the race. So race control will have a bit of work to do into the late hours here at the Bangsaen Street Circuit to make sure that everything's set and sorted for tomorrow's round 8. That even includes the qualifying. Hopefully we'll see Dylan Pereira return his way back out to the race circuit. Tight battle for 7th position remains. A little bit too deep on the brakes there for Nazim Azman as closing in Bao Jin Long looking for any opportunity. We drop down this short drop into the likes of the final couple of corners at 18, 19 and then back out onto the start-finish straight. But where are the opportunities round here? Chris Van der Drift was saying it was so difficult to overtake round here. I think we're certainly seeing that. They'll only have a couple more laps to potentially find their way past. And Bao Jin Long, I mean, realistically, for his own championship aspirations in the Pro-Am category to go and win that one again as he did last year. Realistically speaking, he doesn't necessarily need this move. He's in the position he absolutely needs to be in the Pro-Am category, leading. So, I don't know. It's very difficult to work out whether he does really want to go for this move or whether he'll more than happily sit in 8th position. I say that jokingly. He's a racing driver. Of course, there is only one thing that he sees, and that's a car ahead of him that he wants to be behind. A bit of a lock-up there, unfortunately, coming in from Bao Jin Long as he pushes the car to the absolute limit of extremities for what it's capable of, heading down into the turn 6 hairpin. There's a long wait back to Munkon Satintirikul, who is dominating in the Pro-Am category. There he is. Obviously, sure, that car behind of Li Juanyu, great. There's a car behind him for position. There's another car behind him for position, of course, that one being Li Kai-shun. But then is the part of the car that's actually positioned in the AM category. That far back is Eric Kwong. It's been such an impressive performance from Munkon Satintirikul over the last 3 races. He looks to continue this home prophecy as he looks to try and gun down yet another victory in the AM category of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. On to the final lap of this race then for Chris Van der Drift as he heads his way down towards the first corner. He's got 0.4 of a second over Florian Latour. Martin Ragnar way too far back. Will have to be dealing with the pressure of Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, the 2 drivers that are highest placed of those that are mainstays in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia in 2024. You can see the top 2 leaving absolutely nothing on the line at the moment as they work their way up the hill through this really uneven and tricky surface into the braking zone at turn 6, where we saw the lock-up coming in from Bao Jin Long. Pull it over to the left-hand side of the screen, right-hand side of the circuit before you flick it through the hairpin. Push that throttle pedal all the way down as deep as it will go. Van der Drift does have the fastest lap of the race. He'll be scoring the extra point that goes with it, courtesy of it, but he's looking more for the 25 for taking the big W around here, looking for the victory in his return to Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Thinking, of course, for Matthias Jalbert for the Toro Racing team. The car behind him, though, has won the last 5 races in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia in the hands of Alessandro Guiretti. Not long left to go. We are on the final lap. We're approaching what is effectively going to be the final braking zone, or final few braking zones of this circuit. As we flick our way through the left-hander and now down towards the final turn, really at turn 18 and 19. It's been a wonderful return to the championship here for Chris Van der Drift. Will it end in the golden light of a race victory? I do believe so. There's not really going to be the opportunity for Florian Latour to bounce back. It all came down to that race start where he snuck his way round 3 wide around the outside. Chris van der Drift went, and it is going to end up being victory at the Bangsaen Grand Prix, the round 7 of the championship. Chris van der Drift back on top, the 3-time champion, showing how it is done. As Florian Latour will take second position, Martin Raginger in third. Waiting for the victory for Bao Long within the Pro-Am category. And Munkong Sati and Tirikul, of course, on top in the Am category once again. What a superb performance for them. And again, absolutely brilliant driving from Chris van der Drift, showing that, you know, you don't need to teach an old dog new tricks. He knows exactly what he is doing and pieced his way through that one absolutely brilliantly. Just a dominant performance all the way through. I'm trying to work out if Li Juan Yu has already been given his 10 seconds time penalty, courtesy of finishing 12 seconds behind Munkong Sati and Tirikul. I think he has been. So I actually don't think that he's actually going to lose out any positions despite having a 10-second post-race time penalty for jumping the race start, crazily. So he'll still be second in the category and will still take to the podium, of course, in Pro-Am, along with Li Kai-shun, who'll be in 12th position, and of course, Bao Jinlong, who returns to the top step of the podium for the 6th time in 7 races. This shows how good he has been in this race and in this championship. I think there were some late dramas from Henry Kwong as well, who dropped right the way back down the order and was expected to be over the start-finish line about a minute ago, and still is yet to cross over the stripe to end his race as they work their way down into the final complex. And again, it'll be something that, let's be honest, Chris van der Drift is well aware as to how to do. Take to the top step of the podium, as he's won a fair few races, and again, as I said, mentioned before a few times, 3 titles in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Was able to beat out the defending champion, of course, there in Florian Latour, who ended up finishing in that 2nd position, had to settle for it, just couldn't quite find the pace and pathway to repass Chris van der Drift. But again, we'll be racing once again tomorrow, so there is the opportunity on the horizon for them to potentially step up, although I think a lot of these drivers may need to sit back and think, how do we navigate this one cleaner? How do we actually get the entirety of the 30 minutes of racing? Because we only really had 15 minutes of racing in all that, and I don't think this driver cares one bit about that, nor do the Toro Racing team. Straight over to Chris van der Drift to celebrate after an excellent race victory. Superb performance from him, just to have taken that top step in such a brilliant fashion. It all came down to that one move. Again, 3 wide around the outside at T1. So brave to have tried that one. We'll take a look at provisional results, of course, from round 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Chris van der Drift taking the victory with Florian Latour, Martin Raginger, Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, Marco Giltrap, Dylan Yip, and Nazim Asman, the pro category finishers. Of course, race victory for Bao Jinlong in the Pro-Am category, race victory in the Am category for Munkong Sati and Tirikul. Of course, there, Li Juan Yu, Eric Kwong in 11th position, with Li Kai-shun, of course, or Shun rather, in 12th position with Yao Liang Bo. Then Li Chao, John Shen, Hendrik Jaya Sawati with Adrian De Silva, Christian Cha, and Henry Kwon, of course, finishing a bit further down than we would have expected in that one. Tao Tse Kwon did make the restart of the race, but unfortunately retired on it. And of course, the rest of the drivers there towards the bottom, all retirements on the race start. We'll take a look, though, at race highlights from the race. Race highlights from round 7 of the championship would see the battling take us down towards the first corner, and the drama initially on the race start. Of course, we'll see those clips in just a moment's time as we see the excellent views here over the race, as we'll see the highlights now. A little bit of a delayed race start for the drivers as they struggled to get themselves out onto the grid. Once they did, though, it was drama already. Unfortunately, a bit of a jump start from one of those in the background would cause a red flag, where the drivers would have to return their way into pit lane for the red flag. A lot of thumbs up around. A lot of drivers that are looking pretty happy with proceedings here at the Bangsaen Grand Prix circuit. Lovely visuals on what is a lovely day, of course. Martin Raginger with a lot of work to do. There is the jump start that I was alluding to, of course, from Zhu Zhifeng. Of course, contact, caused chaos with those behind, and an awful lot of retirements for Jackie Wu, for Liu Jiewei, for Eric Zong as well, and Zhang Yatzi on the race start, all retiring basically on the spot. Unfortunately, as they would all drop the way down. It was a race start that would see the lead of Martin Ragnier take over the front of the field before the red flag would come out, and the race order would have to return to its initial positions as the race control passed on that word to all the teams. They would return to pit lane and would get ready to go back underway, especially with the likes here of Zhu Zhifeng, who was just trying to get out of the way. Red flag confirmed by race control, and they would all have to head to a stationary position back in pit lane. The race order was returned to the initial race start as the race length was shortened from 30 minutes basically down to 15. A lot of work then to do. Florian Latour would retake over pole position, would not get a good launch from it, nor would Martin Ragnier. Chris van der Drift said, I'll be having that, as he sent one straight around the outside to take over the race lead into the first corner. Florian Latour was able to retake over second position from Martin Ragnier, and the head up the hill saw an unfortunate issue at turn 1 for Cao Ziquan. Unfortunately, he would be retiring from the race on the restart. It would require a safety car, unfortunately, to come back out and neutralise the race once more as things would calm down. There is a look at Cao Ziquan's damaged car, and there is a look at the safety car which will return its way out to the circuit. The marshals do a fantastic job to get Cao Ziquan's car out of the way as quick as possible. The green flag will be back in the air, and Chris van der Drift would be feeling the pressure of Florian Latour behind, who would be charging his way down as best he could. But unfortunately, the 2023 champion couldn't quite do anything about van der Drift. The only thing he could do was steal a point off him for the fastest lap of the race, which he did on the final one. Shows how much they were pushing towards the end of the race. Chris van der Drift was dealing with the pressure well. Bangsaen Tirikul was out in a world of his own, of course, throughout that race. Meanwhile, Chris van der Drift was, again, dealing with the pressure from the 55 as brilliantly as ever. The driver that beat him to the championship 12 months ago. The driver that he would beat to the race victory here at the Bangsaen Street Circuit. Latour sets a fast lap of the race. Van der Drift sets the victory. Martin Ragnier would join them on the podium, though, as they'll take to the steps on the rostrum. Of course, victory to Bao Jinlong and Bangsaen Tirikul in the category.
All good. So exciting. Tell me how you got... Okay, all right. I'm a lucky fellow. We got first and second place among the pros. First of all, Chris, congratulations. Tell me about the overtake. Second time lucky on the start there.
Yeah, we had a drama this morning in qualifying, and we got put back a bit further than we'd liked. And yeah, I just had to get a good start. It was a mega start, especially the second one. The first one was good too, but I went the wrong way and got boxed in with Martin, and Martin got past Florian. But the second one, I got a better start than these two, and I managed to get the right line and have good momentum and go on the outside. So I guess it would have been really tight having three of us going into corner one, but luckily no one touched him. We all got round safe, and I came out in front.
Could you feel him on your shoulder as the race progressed? There wasn't much time for him to overtake you, but he was putting pressure on.
Yeah, he was there, right in my mirrors all the time. I just had to make sure I didn't do anything dumb and lock up a tyre or run wide, you know. So yeah, just keep cool and go hard from there, and then keep Florian behind me.
Congratulations, Chris. Quick word with Florian. Florian, couple of starts there and got overtaken both times. What happened?
Yeah. I mean, I have a new clutch on the car, and then each time I have a new clutch on the car, and then I don't have the feeling, I need to work on it because it's happened quite often. And then let's see for tomorrow, because we have the pace, amazing pace, I think, and then we cannot really manage to show what we can do. But anyway, still a P2, so I'm quite happy.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Steve Dawson with the brutal question there. I respect that. Straight into Florian Latour. 2 race starts. They lost positions on both of them. Honestly, absolutely spot on. Did lose positions on both those race starts. Struggling there, and kind of asking us how they're going to get to the bottom of that before tomorrow's race. Well, they'll have to do it once again. Will Latour be able to start this one? That one from pole position again. They'll have to qualify once more. Well, Florian Latour, absolutely right. Got great pace in the car. Did set the fastest lap in that race. So there certainly is the pace behind the wheel of the Frenchman, as we'll head down to Bao Jinlong, of course, the Pro-Am winner here at Bangsaen.
Bao Jinlong once again first among the Pro-Ams. Only 7 or 8 minutes of actual racing there. Not quite long enough for you to catch the guys in front?
Yeah. At the start, some car hit me, so my rear have some problem. My steering is like this, and but I think my speed is faster than the front pro guys. So I just very close to the front cars, but you know, the straight track is not easy to overtake.
Was that on the first start or the second start when you got bumped at the back?
First start.
First start.
Yeah.
So it bothered you the whole way through?
Yeah.
Tomorrow you can get it fixed?
Hey, sure. Yeah, just a little bit of problem. Yeah, we see tomorrow. Tomorrow I start from 5th.
And a longer race, hopefully, so you can make hay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, big congratulations there to Bao Jin Long. The next driver we'll catch up with in just a second, though, is Munkong Satintirikul. Love a little bit of Munkong Satintirikul after what has been such an impressive performance here on home soil, both at the Chang International Circuit and here at Bangsaen. Just showing the incredible pace that Satintirikul got behind the wheel of his Porsche. And again, maybe he's moving into contention in the AM category. Of course, tomorrow we'll be ending the first half of the season. Of course, so yeah, there's a lot to deal with for these drivers to prepare themselves for the second half.
Satintirikul Senior, Satintirikul Junior. Tell us how you feel. You won in front of your home crowd again.
Yes, it's my home, so it feels lovely to win in front of many fans. Thank you very much. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for our friends that crashed in the early of the race, but yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah.
All right, we'll see you again tomorrow. Well done.
Thank you very much.
And again, superb performance there from Munkong Satintirikul, and again, just showing the level of quality that he's got behind the wheel, and yeah, lovely to see the familial support as well. Just to kind of have that, it does change your racing over a weekend. It can add pressure, but sometimes it can take away pressure to be able to kind of deal with it. You see a lot of drivers in motorsport or even sportsmen all over the place that completely drive or play or whatever in a completely different way, dependent on the scenario as to whether they've got family. I know there's a golfer, his name's Tony Finau, and he plays completely differently when he's got his family there to support, and he always takes his family out. So great to see there Munkong Satintirikul, who is jumping on. We'll head though to see the podium for each of the categories.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium presentation for round 7 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2024 in Bangsaen. Let's invite the winners of round 7 for the overall class. On 3rd place, we have driver number 86, Martin Regiger for Team Porsche Holding. Woo!
Didn't hear my name.
Yeah. And on 2nd place, we have driver number 55, Florian Laton for Team Jepson. And the winner for the overall class, driver number 99, Chris Van der Drift from Toro Racing. And of course, the dealer trophy winner goes to Toro Racing. And now we are glad to invite Ms. Boyachi, the Senior Manager of One Make Series of Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific Limited, to present both the winner trophy and the dealer trophy. And next on, we are glad to invite Mr. Alexandre Imperatori, the manager of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, to present the 2nd place trophy. Next on, I would like to invite Mr. Ben Ma, Michelin Motorsport Asia Pacific Director, to present the 3rd place trophy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can I gather everyone to be in the center for a group photo? Big smiles, everybody, thumbs up. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. Thank you so much to all our presenters. Let's get ready for some champagne.
And it will indeed be very wet down there. Chris Van der Drift, Florian Latour, Martin Raginger the top 3 in there, and a very well-deserved one. Obviously chasing away the team members, and rightfully so. Excellent to see a well-deserved podium before we'll see Bao Jinlong, Li Juan Yu, and of course Liu Kai Shun, who are jumping up to the podium in the Pro-Am category in fantastic style. But lovely to see Van der Drift there back on top, happy as ever, taking what has been an incredible victory there by just half a second. Not really much separating the top 2. But to be fair, Martin Ragginger only was able to beat out Rodrigo Diaz Almeida by 0.4 of a second by the time they crossed the line. So there were some tight battles around the tight streets of the Bangsaen street circuit. We get a beautiful overall view here. It's just absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Just so tight, so technical. This is what I like about a street circuit. It's not boring 90-degree corners into 90-degree corners. There's a lot going on, a lot of drama. I'm sure that the drivers out there have very much enjoyed their driving around. We'll head down, though, into the Pro-Am category to see Bao Jinlong take the top step.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the winners of round 7 for the Pro-Am class. On 3rd place, we have driver number 321, Li Shenyu from Z-Speed Motorsport. On 2nd place, we have driver number 33, Liu Kai Shun from RMB Racing. And on the 1st place, we have driver number 7, Bao Jinlong from Phantom Global Racing. And now allow me to invite Ms. Boya Chi, the Senior Manager, 1 Mixed Series of Porsche Motorsports Asia Pacific Limited, to present the winner trophy. And next on, I would like to invite Mr. Alexandre Imperatori, the Manager of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, to present the 2nd place trophy. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Ben Ma, Michelin Motorsport Asia Pacific Director, to present the 3rd place trophy. All right, let's invite everybody to come closer together for a group photo. Let's raise your trophy high. Big smiles and pose in front of the camera. 1, 2, 3. Big round of applause. Thank you to our award presenters. It's time for champagne.
And yes, indeed. Again, the 10-second post-race time penalty being dished out there to Li Juan Yu, costing him 2nd in the championship. Oh, sorry, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the race. Oh, I'll get a bit too far ahead of myself there. So down to 3rd in the race. But again, an excellent performance from Bao Jinlong, who at least able this time to keep Munkong Sati and Tiragol at bay, who didn't manage to win in the Pro-Am as well, even though he's an Am driver. I will say, Bao Jinlong did a really impressive drive there because he was able to keep Nazim Azman under pressure all the way to the checkered flag, finishing just 2/10 behind to maybe sneak his way inside the top 7 and, of course, into the pro category drivers there. Shows how impressive Bao Jinlong's pace has been. He finished 12 seconds clear of Munkong Sati and Tiragol in the Am category, who will now see jump to the top step on home soil.
Class. On 3rd place, we have driver number 98, Yao Liangbo from RMB Racing. On 2nd place, we have driver number 23, Eric Kwong from Merkwood Motorsport. And the winner goes to our Thai driver number 76, Munkong Sati and Tiragol from EBM Giga Racing. All right, let's gather everybody for the group photo. Let's raise your trophy up high. Let's come closer. Big smiles, thumbs up. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of our award presenters. It is time for champagne.
There we go then. Fantastic stuff to see the AM podium there, and an excellent victory for Munkong Sati and Tirikul. But will he be able to do it again tomorrow? Of course, we'll be back for racing at 14:35 local time. We'll see you then for the 8th round of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia.